Good morning, everyone, and welcome to live lesson for Tuesday, April the 17th. So today I'm going to cover, sorry, I want to push it down a bit. So today I want to cover a couple of things. So as I have been, sorry, making sure, yeah, it's working. I've been giving back some marks. I just marked up the perspective questions and I just submitted back your Maleficent notes, which were great. Something that I noticed specifically with the Maleficent notes. Um, Overall, actually quite good. Missing some details. So when it asks for supporting details and examples, please make sure that you add those in. Super important. Again, at a 4C level, it is all about the idea of critical thinking and bringing in supporting information. So, making statements, coming to conclusions, coming to themes, perspectives, ideas, coming to research, and it's about how we support our findings. Um, whether it's as something as simple as a template or as structured as a research paper. We just want to make sure we have those specific examples from the story or from the movie or whatever. So there were some details. I know marks were taken off for some, just for detail stuff. And then specifically theme. I made a live lesson prior to this one, specifically on the idea of theme, but I'm going to reiterate a couple of things. So, for the most part, those that have submitted at this point got a fair understanding of what theme is. Theme is the idea of what the author, director, writer, etc., wants the audience to walk away with, knowing. It is the moral of the story. It's why they wrote the whole thing to begin with. And what I have mentioned before, a really good way of thinking about it is Disney movies. Because Disney does such a great job of taking big concepts and creating the visuals and the stories and the plots to teach kids about those themes. So for example, Beauty and the Beast. One theme that comes from Beauty and the Beast is the idea that beauty is on the inside. Beauty is what matters. It's what the inside that counts, not necessarily what a person looks like. That's a theme. It's a moral message. You have this whole theatrical story of a woman falling in love with a beast that turns into a prince. You have this whole great theatrical story, and really at the end, one big theme of it um, that kids can kind of take away is this idea. Well, in the end, Belle learns that it's the beauty of what the beast has on the inside that makes her love him. Same with things like The Lion King or Cars or Toy Story. So we talked about the idea of topics and themes. So topics are friendship, death, love, family. Those are topics, but they're not themes. They're connected to theme, but those aren't exactly the teaching. So the teaching itself is what a theme is. So when you watched Maleficent, what is it that the director or writer wants you to walk away learning, to walk away knowing? And themes are actually quite simplistic. It's a sentence or two. The more complex the story, you're allowed to have multiple themes. So it's not to say it's like a one theme and like that's the only answer. And I mean, I've watched movies and sort of read books where, based on my perspective and my experience and kind of what I bring to the film in terms of when I sit down to watch it or read it, I pull different things from that story versus somebody else where they may take a completely different theme and a totally different moral message from it. And that doesn't mean one is more right than the other, quite the opposite. That's kind of what makes good movies or good books is that you get to read something or watch something a couple of times and you always find and take different things from it. Um, so again, really quick overview because I've talked about it before. This idea of what theme is. It's not just, I mean, I know a few people have said, oh, it's death, love. Those are topics. What about love is being taught? What about death is being taught? Lion King, how we are all connected to the great circle of life. I mean, it sounds so cliche and redundant, but that is in fact a theme. Love conquers all. Very simplistic in terms of teaching, but a teaching nonetheless. Um, Good always triumphs over evil. Again, very simplistic, um, but a theme nonetheless. And then it's about proving and supporting that theme. So just a quick little tidbit on that I wanted to go through for that. And then I'm going to switch my screen. So today's lesson that is due by the end of today, we are just about done, and I can't believe it, Unit 2. So we're on 2.4 activity or lesson 2.4. I'm just going to swap screens right now, guys. One sec. There we go. There we go. Okay. So 2.4, exploring different perspectives. So when I scroll down, of course, we have the idea of our learning goals in terms of what this lesson sort of represents and sort of what we are walking away with. And we're still on the concept of understanding perspective. So why I actually liked this particular topic is it kind of, first of all, not sure how many of you are aware of the Montreal Massacre of December 6, 1989, but it is something that is still very prevalent, I think, in today's media and in today's news. Something that we still take time to commemorate every year. So basically, if you're not too sure what the Montreal Massacre, what it is about, please take the time to watch or kind of go through the CBC digital archives and just kind of familiarize yourself with that story. Then you're going to read both essays. Article 1, Our Daughters, Ourselves by Stevie Cameron, and the 7-minute life of Mark Le Pen. That is translated from French, and I know that reading can be a little difficult at certain points, but I think it's the best version. Um, you're going to read both essays, but you are only choosing one article in order to complete the corresponding questions. So even though you're only answering questions for one article, please keep in mind that on your upcoming quiz, which is in 2.5, you are going to be asked questions for both articles. So please make sure you do, in fact, read both. And again, this concept of perspective, the idea of trying to understand and assess a situation from two different viewpoints, I think is just so important and so it's just so relevant to what is going on in the news today. And then, of course, when you are done your questions, you will submit them into our Dropbox under 2.4 article questions. And I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to flip back here. Hopefully that worked out well. I think it did. So again, just this idea of perspective, having one situation that has happened and understanding the two different viewpoints as I had just mentioned, so relevant in today's society in regards to the amount of information and media we are constantly bombarded with. It is very, very natural and easy to sway one way in regards to the information that we receive, based on the bias and the perspective of that platform, of that news anchor, of that social media. It's so easy to do that. And sometimes it happens without even meaning to. And it's that sort of minute that you take where you're like, hold on, where's this information coming from? Who's saying it? Why are they saying it? And sort of step back and make sure rather than being quick to respond, quick to judge, quick to choose a side, it's about having that idea and that sort of perspective of, wait a minute, based on this side, and coming to your own kind of conclusions on what that means, and sort of becoming more of a educated global citizen, knowledgeable not just from one perspective but from both, um, only makes it that much more certain, I guess, to a degree. But really, it's about creating this idea of a diverse and sort of understanding society versus someone hears it, repeats it, quick to judge it, moves on. So my hope is that as you read both articles and you sort of and we're going through this unit, that is becoming more and more apparent and how important it is to understand the concept of perspective. So I'm going to cut it here because I don't want this to go any longer than 10 minutes. If you guys have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Please do. Other than that, happy writing, happy reading, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.